everybody, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be looking at Dark Dimension 4 teams. Kind of an intro to it. I'll definitely do a bit more of a dive, get some stuff for you guys as far as, a nice spreadsheet to follow, some overall calcs, but I wanted to, maybe infographic, we'll see. I wanted to get some stuff out there for some things that I'm seeing, some thoughts that are going through my head, compared to whether PimTech is going to be a critical team to bring or not. At least from a material standpoint, I'm still trying to decide, and obviously you won't really know until you have the experience of going through there. But, just seeing that we've got 3 new characters on that team, 2 characters that likely don't have a lot of people don't likely have them built up. Just weighing those different factors. So I'm going to go through, of course, a spreadsheet with some data on it, but I'm hoping that this kind of gives you an indication of, the type of materials you're going to get for this. I don't even know what we're calling the T15 minis. Right now, that's what I've been calling them, the T15 minis. I'm sure there's a proper name for it. Sorry. And just show you the teams I'm looking at and where you might want to be kind of narrowing the focus in, because, you don't want to just do it based on materials, because you have to have good synergy. But you also might not be able to buy much materials or get RNG for the materials you need. So I try to combine those as best as I can. So I'll dive into it. Enough of me talking here. Let's go check it out.
Bring me WolverThor!
Okay, so new spreadsheet, and let's zoom out first. So what I got here is and you can see is I've got, off to the side here, I've got the different type of characters you could get from here. The bio, mutant, mystic, skill, and tech, right? So the different kind of origin or whatever it's called from the characters. And then I've got the columns like you saw in those old infographics of the type of materials, the number of materials that you're going to need for each one. And there's really only 2 materials here that you're going to see. And I'll show you those here in a second. I'll pop them up at the screen. This is the other spreadsheet that I typically go through when I do these. Is you can see the material, the mats we got here. It's the ripped up color files. The we all know what we're calling that. Keep that out of the video. The fencing constellation. I don't even know what that is. The green swirls. The black hole or the blue hole, black hole. The rubber stamp. The 1980s Mac computer. I don't even know what that is. The thing that you stick on the bottom of your chair so it doesn't slide around or scratch the wooden floor. I think we all know what we're calling that one. And then the gas tank. So those are the things that you need for each. And each character for these needs, essentially, it's like 18 of each. And then it's times a certain number of those. So I went through and figured all that out for each character in the game. And I've, kind of categorized them here in each column, just like you've seen in those nice infographics that a bunch of people do. I'm sure there's going to be more floating around, but I wanted to get this in kind of a data perspective. So like I said, and then I've got them highlighted where, let's zoom in a little bit here so you can see this a bit better. I've got it so that Global's blue, Cosmic's is purple, City's gray, and then I've added Legendary's yellow. Those 3 colors are what I use in my old Dark Dimension 3 graphics, so I'm trying to keep that color consistent. And then I just group them in each category here where it's like I got my global at the top, my mystic after that, city, and then the legendary in there. And like I said, I've got these different columns, right? So that way you can see, who you're going to look at. And let's just go, category by category. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit here. I think you guys can kind of see that. So, you look here and you're kind of like, all right, if I'm just looking at global bio, are any of these characters somebody I'm really looking at? And as you go through here, stature, which I'll focus on just with PimTech. The rest of these, maybe Yo-Yo. To me, that's pretty much it. That's the only global bio I'm even looking at. When you look at, the Cosmic, all right, maybe Captain Marvel, Colin, depends who else you'd bring. No for all that, no for all that. So that's the idea here. And then City is the same thing. Now here, look, symbiotes. There's nothing secretive here. I'm not telling you anything you probably don't already know. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on City, but it will be a huge factor in this discussion, because if you want to get through City easily or quickly, you're going to be forced to do bio, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you already knew this, all 5 city symbiotes are bio, which is a heavy, heavy task. So you got to think about that when you're looking at these other categories, if you for sure want to bring cities. So you gotta think about what you can do, right? So maybe Yo-Yo falls off that global list. And then your legendaries of Black Bolt, Invisible Woman. And again, you got to look at that as a whole. So as you're looking at this, it's like, all right, well, let's not focus on bio necessarily. Let's just focus on global by itself. So like I said, if I'm not factoring in anything else here, Yo-Yo looks like a good bio character. And I'm just thinking about the quality of that character, right? She's going to have synergy with a lot of different characters. Obviously, she won't get the Black Bolt assist, but the offense down, if she's able to land that, that's a good thing to bring into Dark Dimension. So hopefully her characters can last. You know, maybe you can make an argument for Captain America. He did get a little bit better, but again, a lot of synergy with Avengers there. Not sure I'm going to love doing that. The rest of these guys, I'm not even thinking about it. So you scroll down to Mutant, and Mutant is really where Global just has a ton of characters. I mean, it's the whole, basically you can say mutants are either Global or the one Cosmic and Cable, and then 2 legendaries. The rest of the mutants are, well, that's it. That's all there are. You know what I mean? So you're really just looking at Global here for mutants. And Sabretooth, Deadpool, Wolverine, no. So you look here. Mr. Sinister, I think, as much as I fell off of loving him for Dark Dimension 3, he's still not a bad tune. It's kind of like, all right, what else are you going to use your mutant T15 minis on? You know, okay. X-23 I really like. You know, is it going to be as good since they're not going to drop in health as much? Maybe not, but she does have the self-heal. I could see that being a very similar to Mr. Sinister effect, where it's like, unless you've got a 6 or 7 red star X-23, you might not want to do that. Beast, you know, the heal part is nice, depending if you brought, you know, maybe Cyclops in there. Colossus, I'm not bringing Colossus unless I brought Cyclops and Beast, because at this point, he's not going to be with Phoenix because she's in the legendary pool. Emma Frost, I love. I absolutely think that's a no-brainer if you're not looking at Pimtech at all, which, again, we'll get to that later. The rest of these guys here, no. You know, I thought about Negasonic. I was like, maybe with the barrier, that might be not bad. Mystic, no. None of these. I'm not looking at any Mystic Global tunes at all, so I'm skipping over that. Skill Global, Black Widow, Baron Zemo, no Shield tunes this time. Don't even think about it. Taskmaster, but... you know, he's in the 90 of 90 column. So that's a very expensive character to bring up to Gear Tier 15. You know, forgetting even the SBCs, the T15 minis on this guy are going to be through the roof. So I'm not sure I like that. Then you look at Tech here. And again, not thinking about the fact that you want a Pimtech team together. You know, we'll come to that in a second. Falcon, Scientist Supreme, she fell off. Ultron, no, at this point. Because Ultron doesn't have red stars, absolutely under no circumstance should you bring him in here, in my opinion. I do love the fact that he brings bots, but I'm expecting DD4 to be harder than DD3, and he already struggled in DD3 heavily. So, you know, without reds, I'm not sure that's a good idea, and that's it. So, you know, you go through here and you do this for each one of these. Right, so then you focus on your Cosmic, and I went through this before earlier. Captain Marvel's not too bad, you know, Cole maybe, depending. The rest of these, maybe Torch if you've got a really, really strong one, but he's going to die pretty quick, so it's really going to be about getting his basic or special off and then building back up to that ultimate, which you're only going to be able to use every so often because it's got a long cooldown. Of course, unless you bring Thanos, who's a mystic, who can maybe feed him some energy, but again, in Dark Dimension, you're not going to get a lot of deaths to get that energy out there. You know, Thor and the Asgardians are always pretty solid for a Cosmic option. Loki, Hela, Ultimus, I'm not a big fan of Ultimus. I mean, he's just, even at 5 red stars, he's pretty disappointing to be the big bad in the game. Skill, which, you know, because there's so few skill characters that you really want to bring, there's 27 total in the game compared to, you know, 24 Mystic, 22 Mutant, 42 Bio, and 36 Tech. So... you know, those aren't too bad. So you look at the skill section. You know, really, I'm still just looking at maybe Proxima Midnight, maybe Sif if you're going heavy Asgardian, but I don't know. I mean, that might be the only thing there is if you consider it. And I actually, in the list I'm about to show you in a second, I'm not even sure I went there with her. And then Tech is the last one here. Minerva, in my opinion, is the only one you're even considering in this group. The rest of them are trash. Rocket. You know, he was good back in the day. I'm not sure he is anymore. And again, rinse and repeat. Bio, symbiotes, for City, it's symbiotes, 5 bio. There is no City mutants. The City Mystic, Ghost Rider, don't do that. You don't even waste your time building him, because it's better to get those cosmic characters up. And you see Ebony Maw lurking there for the legendary. Skill, no. People used Punisher before. Maybe, okay, if you really need another City. But again, SBC bottleneck, I'm urging you to not do that, so you can use those SBCs on another character that maybe even if you've got the skill to bring them up. The SBC grind by itself, it's like you're going to need that for another character. So you don't have any City there. And then Tech City, Vulture and Merc Lieutenant weren't too bad. That's pretty much it. But again, symbiotes, right? So then the new category, legendary. Bio. Both Invisible Woman and Black Bolt aren't bad. Black Bolt is the higher priority tune there. But given there's so many bio that you're going to need with the symbiotes, not sure I'm going to want to bring them this time. Same thing with Invisible Woman. Her cooldowns are so long, you got no one really to feed her energy except for maybe Star-Lord if you bring him, which we'll get to later. I'm not sure that's a great thing. Now, Mutant, Phoenix, no brainer. Bring Phoenix. Everyone's going to say it. There's nothing to discuss there. Move on. Magneto, I don't know, long cooldowns. Ebony Maw, I group him right after Phoenix. I think he's the next one. Definitely bring him. You want the Mystic Mats for him. Make sure you got those. Plan on bringing them. There's not a lot of legendary characters to bring in. I think he's going to be essential. Fury, he's so expensive. I was so disappointed to see this 90 out of 90 on him. I was like, really? Because he wouldn't have been a bad option, but man, that's expensive. But again, if you're not going to bring any other skill in, maybe it makes sense to bring in Nick Fury. Even though it's super expensive, it's like, you know what? Forget all the other skill characters. I'm going to put it all in Nick Fury so that way I can pair him up with my other legendaries. But I will again say I brought Nick Fury into Dark Dimension 3 to start, and I was not in love. So we'll see. And then the 3 tech characters that are legendary, Shuri, Star-Lord, and Doc Ock. Shuri, of course, is fantastic. Short cooldowns, heals, energy. Star-Lord, maybe. Doc Ock isn't a bad option. I didn't bring him over, even though he's a little bit low cost, but he might be more worthy than what I'm giving him credit here for. So what I did from here is I took the teams that I thought were decent, and I kind of put them over onto this side. Oh, let's zoom this down here a little bit so we can see this better. I had to zoom it off so that we could see it. So I brought these characters over into this kind of group here. All right, so like I said, I've got my bio tune, I got my mutant tunes, my whoever I thought or considered, I brought over here. And then what I did is I actually totaled the amount of mats you needed there, per mat. So it's 180 of each type, right? So, you can start getting a feel for how many of these type you need if you go this route. And, if I'm looking at, and it also groups the team together. So I'm looking at Yo-Yo, X-23, Mr. Sinister, Emma Frost, and then maybe Taskmaster. I took out Baron Zemo and I said no to Ultron. But between Ultron and Taskmaster, honestly, I think I might lean towards Ultron unless there's crazy SBC requirements like there was to get him to T14. I don't know. But again, the skill stuff is low. But do you bring Taskmaster and skill over Nick Fury? And then if you don't do that, maybe go Nick Fury. But then if you think about Ultron, that means you take a lot of tech stuff away. So you start looking and factoring all these different things in. You jump over to Cosmic, and it's kind of like, okay, there's no bio, which ideally you lose. But try not to get too much bio out there because you want to save it for symbiotes. I'd rather skip Yo-Yo, get these 3, see how I'm doing in there, and then maybe bring, if I just can't make any movement, then maybe bring a Taskmaster or Ultron. Now, again, this is not factoring in Pimtech, which we'll get to in a little bit. Got to keep mentioning that. Cosmic, so yeah, no bio, no mutant, because, you've got all your mutant and global, and so that's fine. You're not bringing Cable into this thing. So you're really looking at a lot of Mystic here. I skipped Thanos on this one. That's why you see the lighter color there. I just wanted to pull them over, but when I was picking 4 or 5 characters, I had to rule them out a little bit. So it's kind of like, you guys make the first cut, you guys make the second cut type thing. And, Thor, Loki, and Hela, it's a great combo. Now, again, Scopely doing it to us here, knowing that everyone's going to want Hela. She's the most expensive you could get with this gear. So you still want her, but she's the most expensive. So this might be a problem with, bringing another Mystic. Now, no Mystic for Global. no spoiler, there's no Mystic for City. Legendary, there's 72 for Ebony Maw. So you got to think about that. And okay, maybe do you focus Ebony Maw before Loki? Or before Thor. That's the Yeti and I argument that we both get into with each other, is that he likes to go Thor, I like to go Loki for the damage to each other. And neither of us are wrong, in my opinion. There's good reasons for each. And then you get the Proxima Midnight, and in my opinion, you got to bring Minerva. That's just, you look at everything else here, it's like, well, I got to bring Minerva. So, Hela Minerva, then another one or two. And that's where normally I wouldn't say Proxima Midnight, but because there's just not a lot of options here, and you don't want the bio, and you're going to get, if you're looking at Thanos, who's not going to have a defense up, I might want that Proxima to get those offense downs as much as I can and a stun on occasion. City, a lot of bio. So try to limit those bios elsewhere. Again, it's the same thing as Dark Dimension 3. You got to get your top 3 in first. The top 2, in my opinion, are still definitely Symbiote, Spider-Man, and Carnage. The third one, I might be able to say, well, Anti-Venom could be argued as the best third, but if you do that, you got to make sure you time his ult well to get defense up on the team there. And again, remember, it's not going to last as long, whereas Venom, he's going to, every turn he gets, if he's healed, he got it. So I still might try to bring my regular Venom in first. But either way, ton of biomats. And then you're looking at Legendary. So you got Phoenix for sure, Ebony Maw for sure. I have Black Bolt highlighted here as a yeah, do it. But, knowing the need that you've got for the other bio, he might get cut more than likely. And, so it's like Phoenix, Ebony Maw, Shuri, depending on their tech situation. Minerva's the only other tech that I'm looking at if I skip on Ultron. That's not too bad. So Shuri she might make sense. And as far as synergy goes, she's good. She synergizes with basically everybody. And that's where you get Nick Fury. As much as it stinks to have that high cost on his mats, what other skill are we going to look at? Proxima Midnight? Maybe if you skip Taskmaster on those global, okay, maybe you do Nick Fury here. So you've got Phoenix, Ebony Maw, Shuri, and Nick Fury. Okay, and that's not too bad. Again, Invisible Woman's another bio, and her cooldowns are too long. I'm not bringing her, but it was worth mentioning her. So, as I look at all these, that's where you kind of start getting all this calc in. So, let's make sure you guys can see this. I'll zoom in a little bit better for you. So, this is where all of those characters I just went through, this is the mats form. So, you're looking at, 432 bio, which is insane. 234 mutant, which isn't too bad. It's the third lowest. Mystic is pretty high, and again, that's mainly because you're Cosmic with the Asgardians there. The Legendary Mystic was Ebony Maw, and then you get your skill where, right now it's counting 90 for Taskmaster, but you could easily make that 0 and move that 90 to Nick Fury. You're still at the 162 if you're bringing Proxima Midnight, because again, skill is, one of the low ones on here. And then tech. Now, this is where we're going to transition. This is going to segue into our Pim Tech conversation, is there's not a lot of tech tunes you're looking at here. We had one in Cosmic, which was Minerva, and we had one in Legendary, which was Shuri, which I think regardless, you're probably going to bring them. So, we already know we have 4 tunes that are tech, that are Pim Tech. I know tech. So, 4 Pim Tech tunes classifies tech. 1 Pim Tech tune classifies as bio. So you can make this bio go away, and that tech is not there anyway. So these can all go away, and again, the amount of mats they are, we'll get to in a second, but when you're removing what you've got in global right now, it's a lot of mutant, and it's skill, which you don't really use anywhere else, except for the 54 for Phoenix and Legendary. So I'm not really incentivized to remove that mutant total if I'm looking at gear. And honestly, the mutants I'm using in global aren't bad. X23, let's scroll back up. Who is the other one I'm forgetting? Mr. Sinister and Emma Frost. Those are good mutants. So I'm kind of like, okay, that's not bad. Now, the bio 72, depending where stature's at, she's 72. That's going to stay the same. So you still need that bio if you go there. So I'm like, do I want to really go over to Pim Tech here? I don't know. So anyway, that's where you get the calcs here, and then now let's look at the Pim Tech. All right, so this is Pim Tech. All right, so again, they're all global. You've got Ant-Man at 36, Wasp at 54 out of 54, and the other 3 are all 72 out of 72. And so this is a whole buttload of tech, right? So I just added up these, 36 plus 54 plus the 72 times 2. Oh, you know what I did here? I need to add that more. Look at that. Oh, no, it's times 2. It's not time. Yeah, because I was thinking stature's by herself. So it's times 2. So you get 234, tech pieces and 72 bio. So it's like, all right, this might be the best synergy team outside of symbiotes for Dark Dimension, but that's a lot of tech. And then it's adding, it's keeping the same amount of bio based on what we had before. So this is the math here. I'll zoom out a little bit more so we can see these side by side a little bit. So these are the 2 side by side. So if I want to do PimTech over here, it removes all of these. So let's just go here and copy this. And if I'm going PimTech, all right, that's my totals. So you can see here where so your bio stays the same. Your mutant goes down dramatically. Your mystic stays the same. Your skill goes down about 100, but your tech shoots up dramatically. So think about that for a second so you go down in mutants, but you go up in tech. Well, there's not a lot of use for mutants. So now you're only literally using Phoenix for mutant mats. Okay, if they're really hard to come by, fine, that makes sense. And if tech are just coming out of the wazoo here, great. But if you do PimTech, it makes it so it's almost the same as bio in a full symbiote team with stature and with Black Bolt. So again, you're probably ditching Black Bolt there, and let's just do it for a second. Then in that case, it's just under the tech amount. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Again, if in Dark Dimension 4, after the second run, you still get some additional mats and not just an additional avatar ring, then maybe you go to PimTech, right? So I think they're a good team, and I like them, and I encourage people to, get them to, if you want to do multiple runs in Dark Dimension 4. But because of the amount of mats that are going to be needed for that team, and where you lose potential, again, what I mean by where you lose is you're reducing your mutant mats is really the only thing changing when you go to pick PimTech. Now, if I didn't have to do as many bio, or if I didn't have to do, really, that's it. If it recruits bio or mystic, I'm all day. All day, I'm all about it. But it doesn't. It reduces one of the lowest amount of classifications you got in mutant, right? So I don't know. Look, my recommendation right now is likely that even if PimTech burns through there, my opinion at this point, until I really dived into this PimTech team and looking at it in a video, is you probably just want to take the tunes that you've already got at T14 and Emma Frost, Mr. Sinister. You've likely got X23 up there. Those characters, okay, you're probably, Yo-Yo's probably pretty close too. So it's kind of like, all right, and you could, if you want to ditch Black Bolt here, it's 360, it's not too bad. You bring Yo-Yo and your symbiotes, you're good. Don't worry about stature. Don't worry about the rest of the tech and PimTech teams. Again, if you forget them now, you're going to get lost in the legendary. So if you want the legendary, I encourage you to buy them still. But as far as the gear and the gold and all that, maybe just get them to the level of what you need to unlock a legendary, assuming that's what happens, right? It's an assumption. It's not a guaranteed fact or anything. So that's my thoughts. That's what I got. This is, gone a little bit long, but I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to show you guys this. This is where my mind is at with planning for Dark Dimension 4. These are the characters I'm probably going to focus in on a little bit. Characters I'm going to bring up to 80. Ebony Maw is going to be one of the first. Phoenix is going to be one of the first. Even though I prioritize Arena, Doctor Doom is likely going to dominate Arena after that second run. So, if my Black Order can hold, its ground, top 15-ish, I might just, not worry about bringing them up to level 8 in Gear Tier 14 and try to get some of these, Gear Tier 15, try to get these other ones up first. So that's what I got to say. Come to the Discord. It's in the link in the description below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this. Comment below. Tell me where I'm right, wrong, indifferent, whatever you guys think. Share with your alliance mates, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, grandmas, grandpas, all that kind of stuff. Hammer down on that like button, notification bell, subscription button. You know the drill. Appreciate you guys stopping by. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.